Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, a new twist in a death at a Coronado mansion. The victim's family now suing San Diego sheriff. A homecoming 10 years in the making for two women in Cleveland, and charges are filed in their kidnapping.
And despite the cooler temperatures and light rain, warnings of a dangerous wildfire season linger over San Diego. Tips from CAL FIRE on how to prepare for the worst. I'm Peggy Pico. Also coming up, the county budget is set to go before a public hearing. County Supervisor Greg Cox explains who could get more money and which programs could lose funding. And a reunion of swiftboat sailors who trained in Coronado, what they endured after returning from Vietnam. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Hi, good evening. Thanks for joining us. San Diego sheriff being sued tonight by the family of a woman who died at a Coronado mansion nearly 2 years ago. They want evidence and other records about the death of Rebecca Zahau. She was found hanging from a balcony of the Spreckles mansion in 2011. Her death was ruled a suicide, but her family believes she was murdered. Their lawyer blames the suicide ruling on what he calls groupthink.
I believe there are several people that should have been in jail later that day that Rebecca was found dead. And they should have been charged with first-degree murder within 2 days thereafter.
The family also wants information about the death of Max Shacknai, the son of Zahau's boyfriend who owns the mansion. Max was injured in a fall 2 days before Zahau died. The boy's mother has said she doesn't believe Max's death was an accident. Kidnapping and rape charges were filed today in Cleveland against the man accused of holding 3 women captive for about a decade. 2 of the women went home today. Police say they were held in chains in the basement of a house. One of the 3 men held in the case has now been charged. Ariel Castro is accused of rape and kidnapping. His brothers had also been held, but police say they have no evidence they took any part in the crime. PBS NewsHour will have more on the investigation at 7. 3 immigration agents are charged tonight with taking bribes from a lawyer to let his clients stay in the U.S. The agents all work in Los Angeles, and the lawyer is a former immigration agent. He's charged with giving current agents cash and gifts in exchange for doctoring his clients' files. One of those clients has also been charged. Tomorrow, the Senate Judiciary Committee takes up a bipartisan immigration reform bill. Some conservatives claim it's too costly, but a new report says it will boost the trust fund for Social Security by adding more taxpayers to the economy. The agency says it will get more than $300 billion in additional revenue over a decade. North County Congressman Darrell Issa opened a hearing in Washington today on last year's deadly attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. 4 Americans died, including the U.S. ambassador to Libya. Republicans have accused the White House of covering up information about the attack.
Our goal in this investigation is to get answers, because their families deserve answers.
What we have seen over the past 2 weeks is a full-scale media campaign that is not designed to investigate what happened in a responsible and bipartisan way, but rather a launch of unfounded accusations to smear public officials. Chairman Issa has accused the administration.
Much of the hearing focused on what UN Ambassador Susan Rice said days after the attack, linking it to protest over an anti-Islamic video. One witness says he was stunned and embarrassed by the claim. PBS NewsHour will have more on today's hearing coming up at 7. Last night we told you about a new Pentagon report on the growing number of sexual assault cases in the military. Victims' advocates are calling for action. The story from Zaka Magani of the Associated Press.
As the military fights a growing epidemic of sexual assaults in the ranks, outrage from the commander-in-chief to victims' rights groups.
I have no tolerance for this. I have communicated this to the Secretary of Defense.
One advocacy group says for that to happen, a big part of the military justice system must change.
Removing commanding officers from the process of criminal justice absolutely would strengthen the system.
The Pentagon says that's a non-starter.
The ultimate authority has to remain within the command structure.
Yet lawmakers this week plan to introduce sweeping legislation, including stripping commanding officers of the authority to throw out jury decisions in some criminal cases, following outrage over 2 Air Force generals overturning a pair of sexual assault convictions. More scandal this week after the Air Force Sexual Assault Prevention Office chief was charged with sexual battery. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel says he's ordered a series of steps and reviews. In its report released Tuesday, the Defense Department estimates some 26,000 service members may have been sexually assaulted last year, with the vast majority of victims not reporting the attack. Many in and out of the Pentagon recognize a lack of faith in military justice.
The military leadership really does not have its finger on the pulse of service members or in terms of what types of changes need to happen.
However it's done, the president says the consequences must be swift.
Prosecuted, stripped of their positions, court-martialed, fired, dishonorably discharged.
Sagar Meghani, Associated Press, The Pentagon.
Senior executives at the Veterans Administration face a 5-year moratorium on bonuses. A House panel approved the ban today after reports some executives got performance bonuses despite problems at the VA, including a backlog in disability claims. The bill still has to go before the full House. The Federal Aviation Administration still hasn't decided what to do with 149 regional airport towers, including Ramona Airport and Brown Field in San Diego County. They're slated for closure because of federal budget cuts. Last month, you may recall, Congress passed a bill allowing the FAA to adjust its budget. The agency canceled furloughs for air traffic controllers and today canceled plans for nighttime closures at 72 facilities. But no word on the full closures. Those airports have until June 15th to come up with a plan to pay for controllers on their own. County supervisors will hold public hearings in June to discuss its nearly $5 billion spending plan. Peggy Pico finds out where the money will be spent.
San Diego County's proposed budget for the fiscal year, which starts July 1st, would increase spending by about 2.5% or $110 million more than last year's budget. Joining me with more on where the money could be spent and how it could impact the region is Chair of San Diego County Board of Supervisors, Greg Cox. Mr. Cox, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Remind us again how this county budget works and why it's a 2-year plan.
Well, going back a number of years ago, we realized that we really need to plan more, not just for this year, but have a good idea where we're going to be the next year. And so we started doing a 2-year operational plan, which has worked very well for the county. We know very well where we're going to be this next year based on the projections of revenues and the expenditures that are included in the CAO's budget. But we also look out that second year to have a pretty good idea of where we think we're going to be next year so we don't have any major surprises.
Now, this budget would provide funds for quite a bit, and you have on the counter here the actual budget, which is this giant binder. Yeah. And what it's saying here is that there will be funds provided for about 16,600 full-time county jobs, or about 3.9% more jobs than the previous budget. 4.4% of those jobs are going to be in public safety. At least there's money earmarked to expand the staff at the women's jail. 3.6% would go to health and human services for more staff and services. Land use, environment, and general government sectors are also slated to get more money. But funds for capital projects would drop by 39%. What are some of those capital projects that might be not getting as much money as they did last year?
Well, actually, over the last 10 years, we've really been on a major capital expansion program, or building the facilities we needed to replace a lot of outdated facilities. Over the last couple of years, we've invested a lot of money into our county operations center, which we just completed the second phase of towards the end of last year. Right now, we have under construction a new Registrar of Voters facility that will be done in December of this year. A plan for construction this next year in the budget is funding for a new library in Alpine, another new library in Imperial Beach. We'll be building a new 400-bed facility for prisoners that we're going to be having to pick up in San Diego County out at East Otay Mesa. And then, as you mentioned, the women's detention facility will be under construction. It should be completed next year.
And let's talk about that. So some of that money was for detention staff in the women's jail particularly. Tell us about how this funding had to be put this way because of the prison reform, or is it linked to that?
Well, it definitely is linked to that. The Las Colinas Women's Detention Facility has about 800 beds right now. This new facility, which will be a state-of-the-art, it's really more of a campus. And, you know, again, Las Colinas was originally a juvenile detention facility 50 years ago, so it's been poorly designed, poorly constructed, and needs to be replaced. We will be adding additional sheriff's correctional officers out at the Las Colinas facility. This new 400-bed reentry facility will be another expansion of our criminal justice system. Right now we have about 5,500 beds. Obviously we're going to add 400 more at Las Colinas, another 400 on East Mesa, so that's going to require additional staffing.
And this is because of this mandate that we'll be taking a little bit more of a pain for these prisoners. Now, let me ask you this, the budget of $110 million increase, some of that is for retirement cost?
Some of it is, absolutely. Our retirement costs have been going up, as most agencies have governmental agencies over the last few years. Just last week, our San Diego County Employees Retirement Association dropped the assumed rate of return from 8% to 7 3/4. So that's going to add about another $25 or $30 million to the total cost that we have to, you know, basically support that retirement system. So that's a big part of the increase.
Now, I think some folks don't know about this, but do the supervisors still have their discretionary funds? And if they do, how are those stacking up as far as where they're going to be spent?
Yeah, our neighborhood reinvestment program used to be at $10 million. It was dropped down to $5 million a few years ago, and that is available, and it's included in the budget. And it's like, I think, 1/100th of 1% of the overall county budget. But keep in mind, the County Board of Supervisors has control over a $5 billion budget. So $5 million set aside for specific projects within the supervisorial districts is a pretty modest amount of money to have some discretion over the course of the year. And of course, each supervisor takes responsibility for what they're directing funds for. I mean, I've given money to, most of the money this year actually has gone to community clinics. We provided money to kind of jumpstart the Imperial Beach Library. So each supervisor is accountable. It comes to the full board, and it takes 3 votes to approve whatever is going to be allocated.
Alrighty. Well, Greg Cox, Chair of San Diego County Board of Supervisors, thanks so much for the update.
My pleasure.
Disney is dropping its plans to trademark Dia de los Muertos, the name of a Mexican holiday honoring the dead. Disney is actually planning a movie inspired by the holiday. News of the trademark filing drew angry reactions on our Fronteras Desk website, and the company withdrew the application. A new generic test for prostate cancer could help more men decide whether to forego treatment. Makers of the test say it tells doctors just how aggressive a patient's cancer is, and doctors say not all prostate cancers need treatment, citing possible side effects of incontinence and impotency.
Screening identifies a lot of cancers that don't need to be treated. Now we think we have a tool that does a better job in helping us identify those that don't need treatment.
Genomic Health created the test. It cost nearly $4,000. The maker says this upfront cost will save money in the long run by preventing unnecessary treatments down the road. A major urology group recommended ending the current test known as PSA. Genomic Health says it doesn't determine how severe the cancer can be. 2 California kids are the first to get an innovative treatment for curvature of the spine. It involves implanting expandable magnetic rods in the body. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg says it was done this week at Rady Children's Hospital.
About 1 in 10,000 kids develop what's called early onset scoliosis. Standard treatment for this severe curvature of the spine includes a plaster body cast and installing rods in a child's back. The rods have to be adjusted every few months, which means kids have to undergo multiple surgeries. Orthopedic surgeon Gregory Mundus Jr. says that can be extremely traumatic.
We've actually done some studies looking at the effects of repetitive anesthesia on children. And lots of these kids will have 8, 9, 10, sometimes 14, 15 lengthenings over the course of their treatment. That's a big deal.
Now there's a new treatment that involves attaching expandable magnetic rods to both sides of the spine. The rods are adjusted using a remote control device in a doctor's office, thus eliminating the need for frequent surgeries.
In clinic, again, just we stick a magnet on the outside of the skin. We're able to literally wind up, and it tells us on the screen of this magnet how far we're actually expanding the device.
The device comes from Ellipse Technologies in Irvine. President Ed Roszak explains it's used in a number of countries overseas, but it's not approved by the FDA for use in the U.S. The agency granted a compassionate use exemption so that 2 kids could get them implanted at Rady Children's Hospital this week.
Well, we thought it was a perfect match for our technology. The needs of the patients are severe. They have a severe disease. The treatment is severe. We have a technology that can really change that, change the whole experience for that child as well as the family. And it was a great way for us to demonstrate that our technology actually works.
More than 300 kids have the devices worldwide. FDA approval is pending. 2 boys, ages 9 and 5, received the implants at Rady's on Tuesday. Rachel Thomas is the 5-year-old's mom. She didn't want her son, Tommy, to go through the standard treatment.
Behold! It wasn't an option for me. There was no way that I was going to put my tiny body, is what I call them, through that type of invasive surgery every 6 months. That's why I knew I needed to seek out alternatives.
When Thomas made the arrangements for Tommy to get the new device, she told him that he'd feel a lot better after he had the surgery.
After he recovered, that he wouldn't have to wear his cast anymore, he wouldn't have to wear a brace anymore. He would get to swim when he wants to swim and take baths when he wants to take baths, and just gets to start kindergarten in August like a 5-year-old should and not have to revolve his life around surgery.
Thomas says Tommy got through the new implant surgery like a champ.
He's doing good. Yeah, he's doing really good. They were really great about keeping his pain under control from the beginning, and he's great. This morning he asked if he got his new back, and we told him yeah, and he asked for a popsicle.
Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
Word tonight, Wrigley is taking its new caffeinated gum off the market, at least temporarily. The gun is called Alert. The company says 1 stick is equal to a half cup of coffee. The FDA is looking into the possible health effects of added caffeine. Wrigley says it's stopping sales out of respect for the agency. Another honor for UC San Diego. It's been named an Energy Grand Champion by San Diego Gas and Electric. The company says the school saved more than 9 million kilowatt hours of electricity last year by using renewable energy sources and through energy-efficient buildings. 10 other San Diego agencies and businesses were also honored for their conservation efforts. SDG&E says their combined energy savings are equal to taking nearly 8,000 cars off the road.
I'm Ray Suarez. On the next news hour, the forensic science used in the genocide trial of Guatemala's former president, plus Secretary Jack Lew. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
Warnings of a deadly wildfire season ahead following a series of fires last week in Southern California. Peggy Pico is getting some tips on how to prepare for the worst.
40,000 acres have burned in California since May 1st. San Diego's CAL FIRE is at peak staffing a month earlier than usual to prepare for a dangerous fire season. San Diego County Regional Fire Authority Chief Tom Porter and CAL FIRE Captain Mike Mueller join me with details on the preparations and tips on how to protect your family in this, what's working out to be a very dangerous wildfire season. Welcome.
Thank you, Peggy.
Chief Porter, temperatures are cooler. We've had some rain over the last couple of days, so it's tempting to delay these fire preparations. Why is that of concern? Should we delay or should we just move forward?
No delay. People should take care of their defensible space right now while it is damp and cool. It'll only take about a day for the grass to dry out, and maybe even less than that if the sun's on it, for us to be back into the firefight.
And when you're talking about defensible space, how much space are we talking about around your house?
Well, different areas of the county have different ordinances, but it's approximately 100 feet. If you have it around your house, there is a treatment zone, and that's graduated depending on your local jurisdiction. So you should look into your local jurisdiction, either in the city or in the county.
And we'll have some links for that for people to do that.
Perfect.
From the state down, they're warning that this is going to be a very dangerous fire season. How come?
Well, the rest of the state has had very low moisture over the winter. Snowpacks are only at about 17% of what they normally would be, so that provides for a lot more drying time and a lot more dry fuels to burn early in the season and throughout the season.
So it seems like just enough rain to get the brush growing, just enough to burn. Yeah. Now, Captain Mueller, CAL FIRE, you're already preparing your staff ahead of time. What are you guys doing to prepare for this wildfire season?
Well, we monitor fire season. We never predict fire season. We monitor conditions, and what we've seen here early in May with the amount of fires we've had, not only here in Ventura County, but also in Northern California. CAL FIRE, like you had mentioned, has already gone to peak staffing. We've brought all of our aircraft on early. Today we exercise our military cooperative agreements and also our National Guard agreements. So we're staffed up and ready to go, and monitoring conditions is what we do. So
you're prepared. What can families do to protect themselves and their property? What are some of your, I guess, top tips for them?
The tips are make sure you have that 100-foot defensible space. Make sure you have an evacuation plan and that it's exercised with your family. If we do ask you to leave, please do so and leave early, and have that emergency kit packed. It could be important documents, it could be medications, whatever's important to pretty much substantiate your family for being away from your home. You know, it could be weeks that you'll need that information.
And when you talk about an evacuation call goes out, why is that important? I know from the 2003 and 2007 fires, there were people who waited to the very last minute.
Well, what happens is if you wait till the last minute, one, it's public safety is obviously our main concern, but we need you not only out of your neighborhood and home for your safety, but also to get the fire equipment in there to do their job, to get the firefighters in there. And that's why we ask, because what happens is if you wait, you hit the traffic, and then people get into what we call a panic state, and that's where it really starts to fall apart. So if we do ask you to leave early and do so safely.
Yeah, I remember there were concerns over cars not starting because of the smoke, so there was a whole bunch of things you don't really think of. Now, Chief Porter, you talked with the military today in regards to working with them as far as fighting fires. What did you find out as far as sequestration and how that might impact your ability this summer to fight fires?
Well, in our meeting today, we were exercising our annual agreement to train together and get ready for the coming season. And that's the local Navy and Marine Corps. And the discussion was not robust about sequestration because they really don't know what's going to happen to date to the firefighting resources, the helicopters that we use for firefighting. So it's possible that it could reduce the numbers, however, we don't know at this time.
Okay, so some discussion going on there. I do know that 60% of the county's fire departments are volunteer, correct? Is that throughout the county?
That number has come down a little bit. The consolidation, they cover a large geographic area, and that is the fire authorities' consolidation that's going on, and the volunteer stations all work under the fire authority and then under me as an operational chief.
How do you resource share as far as when it comes to volunteers, where it comes to city fire, county fire? How does that work?
It's an interesting system. We do mutual aid, so we can use each other's resources and share fire engines to a firefight or a flood or an earthquake. And the county fire authority has been able to consolidate and allow the volunteer companies to play in that game as well. When they were separate, it was harder for coordination of that.
So it's coordinating. Well, I want to let people know that there's a lot more tips online at kpbs.org, and there's those diagrams that you were talking to us about, and it spells it right out for you. So Chief Porter and Captain Mike Mueller, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Peggy.
No Santa Ana winds or red flag warnings in our forecast, and temperatures will be warming up for the rest of the week. A mix of sun and clouds along the coast. More sunshine for the inland valleys by Friday. The mountains may see some thunderstorms through tomorrow afternoon. Desert temperatures climb into the upper 90s by the weekend. About 400 sailors who trained for swift boat operations on Coronado are reuniting this week. The Maritime Museum of San Diego recently restored a Vietnam-era swift boat to its fleet of vessels. It got its name because it can rapidly accelerate in shallow waters. During the war, it was used to prevent the infiltration of weapons by the Viet Cong. For many sailors attending the reunion, it will be the first time They've stepped back on a swift boat since the late 1960s.
And this is an emotional thing for these veterans. When most of them came back from Vietnam, they weren't welcomed very well during those times. They were either spat upon or ridiculed. And now, when we bring them on this boat, the first thing we tell them when they get off the boat is we say, welcome home.
Our reunion theme is keeping the memories alive, and this boat is the centerpiece of that theme.
The boat is made completely out of quarter-inch aluminum, no armor. Sailors relied on its speed and power to get out of danger. The swift boat will be on public display in a few weeks at the Maritime Museum along the downtown Embarcadero. Recapping tonight's top story, San Diego sheriff is being sued by a family of a woman who died at a Coronado mansion nearly 2 years ago. They want evidence and other records about the death of Rebecca Zahau. She was found hanging from a balcony of the Spreckles mansion in 2011. Her death was ruled a suicide, but her family believes she was murdered. And 2 women have gone home at last in Cleveland after being held captive for about a decade. Police have charged 1 man with kidnapping and rape in the case. A 3rd victim is still in the hospital tonight. You can find tonight's stories and download the KPBS app all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.